Hey, John here. The lick you just heard is from my Patreon archive, and you can find a link to that one in the pinned comment. And today's lesson is all about freeing up your picking as well as learning whatever scale or arpeggio you're working on in a much more thorough way, so you can actually use it and you're not lost and doing what most guitar players tend to do when they start out. I know I did do this a lot, which is you always have to start on a shape that has the root note as the lowest note. So if you're trying to play a pentatonic scale, for example, you tend to look for this shape wherever you're at, instead of being able to start on any root note. So again, if we're in A, from here I can go, it doesn't really matter where I'm starting the root note, I will be able to go up and down from that note. And as you probably can see, that will free up your playing immensely, and you won't be stuck in boxes anymore. So this is the first part of the daily workout outlined in my Pentatonic Picking Power book. And this part is one of the more important ones because it also warms up your hands for the coming technique building session. Just working on this alone will help your picking a lot because you're gonna encounter a lot of different situations for your right hand. And like I said, it's one of the most important things you can practice if you want to be able to use the scales or arpeggios that you learned. So this concept then, before we start, can be applied to any scale or arpeggio. And I call this concept root to root. And the root, if you're not familiar, is just whatever we call the home note of a particular scale. We're gonna go through this in all 5 A minor pentatonic positions. And I want you to stick with that for a few sessions, and then you can apply it to other keys as well as other scales and arpeggios. All right, so the first step is to find the lowest available position without using open strings. And in the case of A minor, it's gonna be this one. So the tabs are also available on my Patreon, and I will link to that post in the pinned comment as well. So we have this shape. Now I want to find the lowest root note. And when I say lowest here, I mean lowest in pitch. And that's gonna be the A note here on the 5th fret. So we're gonna start by playing from this note, and we're gonna ascend. So ascending means basically going from low to high. And we start with a downstroke, just strict alternate picking. So you can see here, now I went the whole shape up to the highest note and then back, but now we missed this note. So we need to go back to that one and then back to the root again. So it will be the ending to it, right? So if I do that again, all the way to the top, back. Now we covered this note in the ascending version. Before we move on, I highly suggest that you do this using a drone. And I have a drone playlist as well that you can find in the pinned comment. And it's just a playlist from this YouTube channel, and you have a drone for every key. And in this case, you want to use an A drone. And what the drone does is that you can really hear what all the functional intervals of the scale sound like. And that's crucial for developing your relative pitch. So you can basically develop your ear at the same time as you work on your technique and your fretboard knowledge. So it would be quite silly not to do that. All right, so we've done this note now, ascending. Now we're gonna find the next available root note, and that's gonna be here, the first note on the G string. So now we're just gonna go up again to the highest note of the shape, then go back. So now you can see we missed a lot of notes here, but now we just do what we did in the previous instance, where we just go back and catch those notes. Down to the lowest pitch, and back up to where we started again. So if I do that one again, now we've done this one then, ascending. Next note would be the highest pitch of this shape. So we're just gonna go down because we can't go up. And as you can see now, we actually caught all the notes of the shape, so we don't need to repeat anything. And also, since this is the highest note, we couldn't really do an ascending version of this one. So this started our descending version. And the descending version just means that we're going to go from whatever root note we're starting on, and if possible, we're going to add notes. We're going to go down instead. So now we're going to go back to the G note, the G string here. But now we're going to, instead of going up, we're going to go down first. So to the lowest pitch, go back up. Now we're back where we started, but now we missed all the notes on top. Catch those. And then we end up here on the starting point again. So this one again. So hopefully you start seeing what this is all about. Now we go back to the starting note again, or the lowest available root we had. And since we have a note below this one, we can actually do a descending version of this as well. Even if it might look a bit silly because it's really only one note, right? So, but now we have a lot of notes to catch up with here. So, and that's it for this first shape here. And this is what I called shape number 5. And then we're going to go to shape number 1. And now we're going to start on the lowest available root again. Same thing, use a drone, start everything with a downstroke, and just find the lowest note and start ascending first. So ascending from this note, all the way up, all the way back. And again, since this is the lowest note of the shape, we're basically covering the shape right away. Now we're going to find the next note. So this is the next root. Start with a downstroke again. Go ascending first, up to the top, back, catch the notes we missed, and end up on the root again. So hopefully you can see root to root the name where that comes from. And now we can go up to this note, and now we're actually going to have an ascending version from this note. Remember, from this position we didn't, because that was the last note, or the highest note of the shape. But now we have one note higher, so, and now we need to catch all the notes below. And now we restart on that one because we have a lot of notes below it. This means we can do this one both ascending and descending. So we're going to do the descending version. And again, I caught the note that I didn't play in the beginning. So that's all it is. We just make sure we start at whatever root note, and then we do the ascending first, and then we have to sort of retrace our steps and catch the other notes that we might have missed below the note or above the note pitch-wise. So that was the descending version of this note. Now we go back to this one, and now we're gonna do descending. Go catch the other notes. And finally, we're back here. But now we can't do anything because this could only ascend. And why? Because it's the lowest note of the shape. So now we're done with this one, move on to the next. So now we're going to have the lowest root note is actually going to be this one. So we start by ascending first. Find the next root note, ascending. Now descending from the same note. Descending from the first note. And I'm doing it quicker here because you know the concept now and it should be fairly easy to follow along. All right, so the next shape, starting here, 12th fret, this is shape 3, and we start by ascending. Find the next root, ascend. Descending from this note. And then descending from this note. Now, the tempo here, when you practice this, keep it at a low tempo so you don't make any mistakes at all. I'm kind of rushing through it a bit here now, just so you won't get bored watching me practice, right? I just want to explain the whole concept for you. And also, I don't want to just do it in one position and let you figure the rest out. Like I said, you have all the tabs available, but I want you to really get something from this lesson just by watching it as well. So that's why I'm going through all of them. So basically we only have one shape left now, because we started on shape 5, did shape 1, shape 2, shape 3, and now we have shape 4. So the root note's here, and we start by ascending. Then we start on this note, ascending. And that's it for that one, so we have to do the descending part from this note now. And finally descending from this note. Alright, so that's all 5 positions, because we started with shape number 5. And we did number 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's all 5. But now I want you to continue on when you do this by yourself. I'm not going to go through it here because it's going to be the same thing, but it's still a slight difference in feel and also a bit in the look when you play these shapes up here, because you're a different part of the fretboard, and even though the shapes are the same, it kind of feels slightly different. So it's good to work through this as well, so you're extremely clear on what you're doing all over the fretboard. And also, most solos going to be above the 12th fret anyway, so it doesn't really make sense to just stop doing it as you get there. So in this case then, you can, on a 22 fret guitar, you can still get up to the second shape again. So you can do the shape number 5, shape number 1, and shape number 2. And do obviously the same type of routine that we just did. This routine doesn't take long, and it's perfect as a combined technique, ear, and fretboard knowledge workout, while also warming you up for more challenging things. So the benefit of this exercise is that it'll free you up to start whatever scale you're working on from any note, ascending or descending. So being lost on the fretboard will be a problem of the past once you've implemented this into your practice routine. You will also free up your picking techniques, and starting on each note will turn the picking around automatically, so there will be no more fumbling around once you get used to this. So give this workout a try, and if you find it effective, please share it with your friends. If you want a full daily workout that's guaranteed to level up your picking technique, check out my Pentatonic Picking Power book. It's wildly underpriced at $9 for 180 pages. And it's going to give you a clear path to follow for maximum improvement.